Good evening, guys. So this evening we're going to focus on API testing for this evening. And we've already finished the Selenium testing. And the video are already displayed and they have uploaded on the YouTube channel. So 1 minute, I'm going to quickly bring that up. Yeah, so the video for last training is already been uploaded here, so you can look into that. So if you Google for Blue Sky Citadel, you should be able to see that video, Blue Sky Citadel. Yeah. So the video is already uploaded here. Okay, so today it's going to be API testing. So if you're able to finish it within 2 hours, that's fine. So I'll go a bit slowly. So there's a document I'm going to go through. Then it's going to be the first half an hour will be theoretical. Then after that we'll move to the practical part. So we're going to be using Postman, and also we're going to use Swagger also for this API testing. So it's going to be API testing. Why do you need to do API testing? What is API? And after that, we'll move into how to use Swagger, which is a free tool that you can also use for documentation of your API. Then also we move into how we can use Postman to do our testing. So if time permits, also we look into how we can also use C# for the API testing. So why using Postman for that? So let's go through this quickly. So first thing, okay. The first question we want to answer is what exactly is API? So, and it's an acronym. It actually stands for Application Programming Interface. So it's basically a set of function, procedure, or other points which your application actually use to communicate or interact with other softwares. So it's basically any function or any access which your application use to interact with any other software. The software could be internal software, it could be other system, it could be internal system, but it's basically like an interface to another system. So, but in layman language, is basically that I saw this online, which I actually like. Okay, all right. I saw this analogy online, which I also very much like, to be honest. So it says that, for instance, you go into a restaurant and that restaurant hasn't got any waiter. What do? You went there and you saw the menu lying on the table and you want to make a request even to the chef in the kitchen. Or what exactly will you do? Normally what you will do, you will shout your order, and then the chef in the kitchen will now take your order, and there will be other people also that will be shouting those orders. So eventually, instead of the waiter to cook the food, it's going to be taking orders. But in this instance now, you would also say that, oh, you will need a waiter. The waiter would take your order and pass it to the chef, so that the chef will be able to do what he knows best, which is cooking. And the waiter will be someone that's got multilingual skills. He can actually translate any language that comes and also relate it with to relate it to the uh, chef. So the same thing also is what a an API would do. Basically, take your request, then also from there process it and give you the response. So that's what a an API will do. So and like an API also, it basically speaks to the other interfaces that the system connects to, and then also give them what they are actually requesting for, which is in form of response. So an API takes a request, then process that request, then after it processes that request and sends a response out. So basically that's what you want to know. So then why do we actually need API testing? Why do you need API testing? Because I know we've done UI testing and right now it's API that we are looking into. Why do I need to do API testing when I can also do system testing using UI? One, I can say API testing is very fast. It's more reliable than system testing, and also there's some boundary that you can be able to harness using API calls, and also some functionality. Even when the system is not yet developed, you can use API to actually to mock that particular service that you're about to test. And it's like, for instance, when I talk about the restaurant, right? Even if the waiter is not around, no, if the chef is not around, the waiter can still start taking orders. And it's also possible in these days of Uber, right? You don't even know where the what's it called, the chef sits in the comfort of your house. You actually have Uber as your waiter to request for what you want. Then before you know, your response comes in. So even before the food is cooked, you can have the API serving you, as in taking your request, and also you could have someone sitting there making those requests, and then before you know, you get your response later, or you can actually mock the response that you are getting as if there's a waiter. So it's basically another good way to test your application. So, and even though it's very low level than normal system testing that you do in UI. So then I'll talk about common tests that you perform using API. So like I said, API, you actually test the returns value that you get from your input, basically your response that you get from your request. So when you send a request out, you get a response, and you now verify that particular response matches what you are expecting from your request. So, and also you could also verify if your API does not return anything. So if you return a null value, so that's another thing you need to know. And one question that you could also pose is like, why should we be using API testing? So in this era right now, most of development module follows the microservice. So in their development actually, so where you have several data stores or even separate command interacting with the data stores. So and yeah, microservices is now an appealing method for even developers these days. So, and they use it to deploy more quickly, and which means that one area you can actually work on one area, and then when that area is finished, you can deploy that area quickly, and you can decouple some areas and work on those areas that need to be worked upon. So, and because of that, API is very important in that regards to be able to communicate with those microservices, so that is been developed. So and for you to do that, so they use REST request through HTTP. So we're going to talk about how REST actually works. So So how does REST actually work? So REST is representational state transfer. So then is you send your request to that and send your data. So let's talk about REST. Yeah. So when you are making a REST request, so it's okay to say I don't know what REST is. To be honest, you don't need to know much about that. So we're going to look into as we go along through this training, you get to know. But most of what you're going to be sending are going to be REST requests, and the REST request is going to comprise of different parts. The first part is your HTTP verb. Most of us will have used the internet before. You would have even put http.google.com or https.google.com. So that's what we are talking about. The first part is going to be the HTTP verb, and then it's going to follow by your URL, which is the so it's going to follow by your URL. Then after that, you have your HTTP headers, so which provide the information about the server and also information to the server about the request that you are going to supply. Then after that, if it's required, so you have the request body. It's not every REST request that's going to have a body. So, but we'll look into that situation where you don't need a body. So, but it's not every request that require a body. So there's some requests that doesn't require anybody. So then also your HTTP verbs that you can use also for your REST request. So you have a get, you have a post, you have a put, you have a patch, and also you would have a delete. We're going to look into those ones in practical time, so if time permits. So how do you use a get? Your get fetches record from the database, and your post is when you want to add records. Basically, as a manual tester, you would want to query, for instance, if you go to Google and you search for maybe blue sky, citadel, and it brings lots of things for you, that's a get. And then also when you now go to a particular website and you fill in a form and you click send, that's going to be like a post. So the same way also when you search for a record and you want to now update that particular record, so that would be like a put, that's a put request. So you want to actually send a put request to update a record. And also there's a patch also that replaces a part of that record, and also there is delete, which removes a record from database. So those are the main ones. Those are the common HTTP verb that you will need to use. So an example of how you're going to use those verbs, it's like I said your REST request will contain HTTP, which is this one, and also your URL, which is for instance www.sample.com. Then also this is what is now called your endpoint, basically. So what you are trying to do in this one example will be like, I want to get the first record of from the table cars. So that would go to your URL and go to that table called cars and return the first record for you. So, and it has to be a get request because you are doing a query to extract those data. So this similarly also you can also get this one, which is I want the second record in the table 3. So like I said, this part from the car/1 is your endpoint. So some people will have heard it when people talk about endpoint, is the end of the URL, to be honest. So after your URL, then you have the slash, then what comes after that is a endpoint. So it's what your API is now used to call. So it's basically telling your API as in what you are calling and everything. So then also your HTTP header can also provide information such as the host, the authorization, which is going to be the credentials for the user making that request. So for instance, if you are going to be looking into getting a request from a server or a URL and you need to log in to that particular environment. So that will mean that you need to supply your username and your password for you to be able to use the API. So under that, the your credentials, you have to supply your credential under the authorization header of the system. I will show you how to do that using Postman. So we look into that together. And also there's format of information that you provided in the body of the request also, which in the content type. Okay, so like I said in the instance before, not every um, request will have a body. So you don't put a body inside a get, because a body will be like what you want to update your um, database with. So if you look into that, that is only going to be what you want to add into your database. So you would be using that for a post, for a put, and for a patch. For instance, if you are going to be deleting a record, you don't need the body, because you are not updating anything, you are not inserting anything. Basically, if you look into that if you know SQL statement very well, which we're going to do next week, we're going to look into database management. We're going to talk about SQL next week. So yeah, so if you know about SQL statements, so and you will know, you already know now, it's when you do your insert and also update, that's where you need your body. For instance, if you want to do a query, you don't need to put a body, you just need what your query parameter, that's it. So, and your body will specify the information that should be added into the database, and normally it comes in form of JSON or XML formats, so that you can actually supply. So a sample of what you put in your post REST request is like, my first name is John, my last name is Smith, and my email address is jsmith@sample.com. So you put that, and then when you do like a put or post, you get this particular data is added to the database, and you can get a response code from there. So the next question is, what is included in the response to a REST request? What do you have? I've thought about your request. Your request is what you send out. Then your response is what you get back. So now this information that the server sent back to you, what does it entail? So, and also it includes the HTTP headers that describe the response, and also a response code. We're going to look at some code and also what's the response code. The response code determines whether that particular request that you send is successful or it failed. So, and you get that code back, and then also you get information, you get verified information in the body of that particular response. So to explain, yeah. So, but sometimes this particular response body can be empty. So, but let's go on. So now I've said about the response code. There's some common response code that you have, which could be divided into three categories. One is the 200 levels responses, which indicate that the request that you sent has been received and is understood and is processed successfully. So, and you get different 200 level responses. So then also you have the 400 level responses, which indicate that yeah, the request was received, but however there was an error from the client. So that means the request was not successful in it came back with an error message. Then also you have your 500 level response, which indicate that there is server error. So we're going to look into that. One is like most common one that you might want to verify is the 200. So 200 is basically like I've sent my request and now my request is successful and there's no error message at all. So I get a success message. One of those are the common ones I've just listed. I think there are more than this anyway, but this is a good example of HTTP status codes. Alright, so as you can see, there are different status codes that you can get. So error 200 or code 200 is what it means. Yeah, your request was successful. You got an OK title, and then everything is fine, all good. Then 201 means yeah, that resource has been successfully created. Then 202 async is being created. 400 that particular request is bad. 401 you got unauthorized um, request, and 402 you are over your quota. 404, which is also another common one, is not found. That particular resource that you are looking for is not actually found. Then 422 is basically validation error. Then there's also 401 501 and under that, which is internal server error. So those are the common errors, but you can as well Google for the other ones. So so well, this is different ones, so you can look into those. Yeah, 400 and in different scenario where you can get these error messages. Then also you have another one here, so you can see. So these are the common ones. I think I've already covered. Yeah, I think I'm not sure whether I mentioned the 4.3, the forbidden one, forbidden one. So this is another website that you can look into. This is the IBM website. So for different error messages. So, okay, let's go to where we are. Okay, now how can we actually test the API? So we know that there are different ways that we start our testing. So now that we've learned what APIs requests are, and also we know what API responses are. So let's try to look into how to actually test them. So there's a very good tool that developers also use right now that I mentioned at the intro into this particular training is Swagger. So which is very good actually for documenting. So we're going to look into this particular tool and how it's being used. So with Swagger, it allows you to document your API. If we state the response that you are expecting from each of the requests. And yeah, it's basically very good. So, and then the question is like for people that are new to API testing actually. So when you are going to be testing APIs, there's some information that you will need. And to be honest, what can make you a very good API tester is ability to ask good questions from developers, and you need to know what you need to request from them, because sometimes if you don't ask the right question, you won't get the right answer. So, and it's possible you might struggle in your testing. So the first thing you need to ask is what endpoints are available. Where is the endpoint? Now we know what endpoints are right now. So you know endpoints. Sometimes when they send the endpoint to you, it will be slash, maybe like we have /3. So let's go back. I will show you. So I think we talked about the endpoint. Yeah. So the endpoint will be basically something like that or this. So these are endpoint, or they could give you something like this. But you will know that it is not everything. So you still have to put your HTTP and your URL to this. So that you need to know, because that's not going to change. It's going to be your URL. Then you put your endpoint attached to it. So it's very, very important you ask your endpoint. But of course, you already know what is your URL. And if you don't know them, then of course I got to be the boss. So then from there also you need to ask what are the HTTP verbs that you need to use. You don't know this information, to be honest. You need to ask them that is it going to be a post, is it going to be a get, is it going to be a put, is it going to be a part. But as the time goes on, alright, as I was saying, you need to know if it's a get or if it's a post. But as time progresses, you would know, because for instance, if you want to query a database, then you will know that it's going to be a get. Or if you want to update, or if you want to insert into the, you know that where it's going to be a post. But I don't think there's harm in asking that are you using a put, or you're using a post, or are you using, yeah. So in most cases also it's okay to ask the developer about what HTTP verb they are going to use, or you should use with your endpoint. So then also you need to also ask if this particular verb are limited by authorization, in the sense that do you need to have authorization to use them, or but also in some cases also as time progress you might have that information, because for instance if your application requires you to log in, then you know that yeah, there is authorization. Then also you will also need to know how the authorization is done. When we go to Postman, we will see that authorization is not, you don't do it like one way. There are different way that authorization is done, but it has to be information that will be supplied by developer to you. Then also you might also ask the question about the fields that are required in the request. So as we know that it's not all fields are required in your request, so you know. And then what validation limits is on that particular phase. As we go along, we will be able to know how these informations are being used in your testing. Then also you will want to know the response codes that you should expect. So basically you will see that as this information will serve as like a requirement basically. So this information should be supplied in your tickets as you go. I think it's sometimes very important that QA should emphasize that as maybe anyone that writes the requirement for an API testing should put this information inside the ticket, so you don't need to be going forth and back to developers. So as you know what you're going to be requesting and you got every information about the request, so also you need to get information about the response, the code that you should expect if your request is successful, and also you need the response code that you should expect if your request is not successful. As you can see here, so when your request is successful, you can get an OK, which is 200. But even more detailed than that, you can get 201, which shows that that particular resource has been created. So it's basically what the developer or what the requirement says. So is it 200 or 201 or is it 202? And the same way also, when you send a bad request, you want to get 400, or when you have unauthorization request, you want to get 401. In most cases, in this regard, you might also need to know what the request should be so that you can be able to inform the developers also if you are not getting the right request or if they advise you wrongly on what the request should be. So let's go along. So, yeah, and also you need to also ask what sort of error messages should be displayed in the body of the response. So when you get a response back, you want to be able to ascertain that you get the right error message for any unsuccessful request. So you need to know that also needs to be documented. So yeah, that's what you need before you start your testing. And the next one is for you to now agree on you already know the test tool that you're going to use. For this training, we're going to use Postman and we're going to use a bit of Swagger also with it. So you need to know there are different tools that are being used. So like Postman is free, 100%. You can download it. We're going to look into how to do that. You can download it and install it. So then after the installation, then you start to run it. So, and which is fine. Then the next one after that is you have run scope, you have soap UI. There are other tools that is there in the market that you can use for your testing. If you Google for Postman, then you should be able to see Postman here, and you can go into that. Then, or even better still, you get started, or if you go back and you can actually download. So if you click on download, you get download, and you can download which type of version that you have. Once that is downloaded, you can click on that. It starts to install that particular version for you. And once it's finished, you can bring your Postman up. So I'm going to close this, then start again. So you see when it's been downloaded. So that's it. I'm going to close this one in a moment because I don't need to install it. Alright, So when you open, and let me close this one, Postman. So if you open Postman, okay. So I don't want to update, so I just want to continue. So okay, so that's fine. So now what you need to do now, you need to create your request. So let's go on. This is Postman. So and once you are going to be here, you create your request. You can also have a collection of requests. You can have mock server. You can monitor requests, and there's even API documentation that you can also look into. So you have your environment, but we're going to focus on our request. So for our testing, so let's go quickly into that. So okay, so now like you already know for normal testing that we do for even Selenium, the joy of QA is to put assertion in your test so that when it fails, your test fails. Or the assertion helps you to be able to get your results and also be able to know if your test passes or it fails. So it's even in the same way with API testing, you would try to you actually add assertions, you do the happy part, then also you do negative testing with it also. That is very, very important. So for API testing, you don't also only do the happy path alone, you also do the negative testing with it. So in the sense that, for instance, if you are meant to you are using a get request and you know that if you get one element and you want to pass like two parameters to it and see what's going to happen, so you instead of getting error 200 you expect to get error maybe 400 or 404, or also you want to cover the other negative testing is very, very important. So a sample of the negative testing is when you have requests with wrong HTTP verb, also you have wrong endpoint, you have wrong header, you have missing header, and also you have incorrect authorization, and also requesting for data that doesn't exist. So most often you want to be able to test some of the codes in the that will return the bad request, so that will return the error messages even in that regard. So you want to be able to make sure you cover those ones. Then also you want to send request with a body but with some missing fields and see what's going to happen. If those missing fields are required, then you should get an error message. If those missing fields are not required, you should be successful. So all these are very, very important when you are going to do your API testing. Is very, very important. So and yeah, so that's the same way you do your normal manual testing, you need to put that also. And this, I think, in the fourth session of our training, we covered on different techniques for testing. This also will come very handy at this point when you know how to design your test cases using different techniques like boundary value analysis, equivalent partitioning. So it's very, very important for you to use those techniques at this particular point. So now it seems everything is looking good. So, and the next one is for us to look at how we're going to test it. So we're going to look into Swagger. Like I told you, I said Swagger is a good tool. So let's first navigate to this particular URL, which we're going to use for the testing. So the first thing, if you go, this is Swagger. Yeah, this is Swagger. So more often you will already been set up with your team, and you can, yeah, if you are not involved, most of the developer will have set it up. So, and they will give you a URL like so about, yeah, this is a project, and they say, okay, this is where the Swagger has been set up. So, and it's like a kind of a documentation. I'll go through this quickly. It's in this particular, this is a project right now, pet stuff. So for the pets, so you can go and say you want your HTTP verb will be post, and then you put slash your endpoint slash pet. The what that is going to do is going to add a new pet to the store. Then also then you put, of course you expect that to have a body, so you can click on that, so that will give you yeah, what you need to put in the body. And then also, instead of the name, instead of the string, now you put the name, and also then you put different, yeah, that should be another string. The photo URL, you put the URL of the photo, and then the tags you put. So this will be what you need to supply in your body. Then, so for the same thing, you're expecting error 405, because it will give you invalid input if you supply something invalid. So, and same thing for this also. It's basically like kind of documentation to what you're expecting. So, and these are different codes that you should get for 400 for invalid ID supply, 404 for pet not found, 405. So you can see, so those you need to now test them. You need to supply invalid ID, and you should expect to get 400. You supply a pet that was not found, you need to get 404. So in that regard, so for the put. So the same way for the get, so you can use your endpoint slash pet slash then find by status. So that will bring this for you. So that is, yeah, you are even for the stores also are the same. So you can, yeah, so this so you can also even use from Swagger. You can test your API manually using Swagger, to be honest. So let me refresh. Let's refresh. Let's go through the first one, the easy one, which is the pet. Uh, this find and get the pet. So we want to actually find a pet by their ID. So let's go to that one. So this is the Swagger documentation for this particular endpoint. So, and also says what is actually doing, find a pet by ID. So now what we need to do, we need an ID so that you can find a pet as a question. Okay, I'll come back to all these questions as time progresses. So, but I think yeah, I'll come to those one later. If time permits. Okay, so in this get, so in this get now, you can try that out. So when you click on try out, so you will get that. Then you will supply the pet that you want. If I put one, as you can see, it gave me 404. That's the response I get. So which is not found. That particular pet which is not found. So that is the okay. But however, also it also gives me 200, which means that my operation is successful. But it's only giving me for error 404, which means that that error is not found. So, but no, sorry, the server response is 404, but this is the available errors that I can get. So, and if I look into, so this is the requirement. So 404, I should be able to get this particular error message, pet not found. So if I go into what I got, this is the response body. If you look into the response body, you will see that it's got the message pet not found. So that means error 404 has been tested. So now the next one is invalid ID supplied. Let's try to do that. So invalid ID supplied, let's say, because it's saying that it should be integer or 64-bit. So if I do this, right, and say execute, so it's not actually executing that. So it's not even going at all. So it's not allowing me to query that. But if I do that and say execute, okay, so and the error is 404. Okay, 404 because it's not found anyway. So but I think if I do 100, yeah, if I do 100, what did I get? Yeah, the server response is 200, and it's now giving me the response body, which returns that particular response for me. So which is the name of the pet and also the picture and everything, the details, and that's what it. So and the error message, the description is successful operation. So okay. Now you have the header as this. So that's what you will get. So let's see what. So that's on the Swagger. We've done that on Swagger. Now let's try this now on Postman. So like I said on Swagger, we've been able to test this manually. So on using this, so you can also try for polls or polls. You just need to, even for instance right now, if so, you can try if you say for post. If you try this out, you just need to put the body. So you need that body. So now you need the URL, the string, name. Let's say it's test1. Then this, then the photo URL, my photo. Let's say my pet photo. Okay, yeah, let's execute that. The service response. This is the what we sent out, and this is the service response. So this is the request URL that we sent. So which is basically like http:/p2/pet, and this is the request. This is the response that we get 200, which means it's successful and is able to add that into the record. So if he's not able to, like you have invalid input, you get 405. This is another response, but we've been able to test the 200 one. You can now try the 405 to see, so that you supply invalid input and able to see what you get. So I think this, I'm not sure that this is right, because this, this should be okay. So this is the ID. So let's try to check the ID. So we use this one. Let's try to check the ID. So if you look into get, and then so this is the ID that is generated, and let's try to see if we can find it. Try it out. Exactly. Yeah, can you see that's it? And that is that. So basically you actually found that. So and you can now if you want to delete, you can also delete that particular one. So let's say we've done the post. So the same thing also, you can decide to do this. So let's use the delete. So let's try that out. So and it's saying, so let's put this API key. I don't know what that is, to be honest. So let's see, because he's only asking for the pet ID. So yeah. So the response is 200, which is good. That means it's been able to delete. So if you do it again, execute. So that response is 4 because now it's not able to find it because it's already been deleted. So an invalid ID, that is the one that we've not been able to establish. So if I put D here, so it's not, because there's also a validation at this point. So okay, so now the same thing also, if you go to get, so not this one, if you try to get that particular, if you execute this one now, it should return 4 to you also, because the pet is not found because you deleted it. So now let's go to our Postman. You click on that, you put your name, so let's say pet project. That is what you want. Then you can create a collection to add. So pet collection. Then you click on the plus, then select the pet that you want, the collection that you want, and you save it to the pet collection. So this is what you now have. So the next bit is now for you to select which verb you want, get, post, or depending on what you want. So as we know, we have, let's start from page 1. Okay, let's start with the post. So the first thing is you want to post something. So and then what do we want to post? So we want to post the name. Let's try that one out. So name, my next post. Let's say my next post. Then where's the another one string? Then the tag. Okay, so status is fine, is available. I don't know what other statuses is there, but let's see if the statuses can create issue for us. You can say I don't know if the statuses are already been predefined, you get error message from there. So let's run this one from here, then we can change it later. So okay, it doesn't matter, so I think it's fine. So he actually gave us 200 and he gave us the ID from there. So now if you go to Postman, what we need to do, we are posting, then where on the body we are posting. So that is what I want to post, and our endpoint, so we need to copy that. So that's our endpoint we are posting. Then you just click on send. So this is unsupported media type. That's an error that you get. So it said it's not supported in terms of the raw that we used. So let's see if we say it's JSON and we send. So that's 200. So because we changed that to JSON. So but it was some text before, it said not supported. So you can now change or XML or whatever HTML. So that's different type that you can the body that you can supply. So that is that. So and you can see the ID. This is now our response now. So our response has got the ID and it's got even the water supplied. So and the status is 200 and also gave it the time and everything. So that is the on that. So we did not use any parameters, we did not use any authorization. Like I mentioned that if you needed to do authorization, it's basically not that difficult. You just need to know what type of authorization that you need to use. If there's no authorization, you put that. If there's bearer token, when you select bearer token and you provide the token, even in some cases, developer can actually assist you to get the bearer token. Then if it's basic auth, you need to know or dynamic auth or auth. Once using this information can be provided by developers for you. So let's go through the next one. So we've done the post. So let's try to get that out. We want to get this particular now because it's doing posted. So let's get it out. We go to where is our swagger. So for the get, which points are we supposed to use for the get? So for the get, yeah, so we have pet/pet ID. So this is what we would put. So instead of that, so I need to replace this with the pet ID. So which is, yeah, it's coming back with this also 415 unsupported media type. So if I go back to where is the body again, I don't think this doesn't need anybody, so I put it none. So let's send it now. This is saying that it's not supported. Oh, sorry, it's because it's on post, so we are actually looking for get. So yeah, so you can see, so now it's actually got it. So we have 200, which is success, and then you get the ID, and this is the details of that particular pet. As you can see, the status, let's say I don't know what the status is, so that is that. So and another thing here also, as you are entering or querying everything using Postman, you have your history at the side, so you can just click it and goes. For instance, if I want to go to my post again, I can just click it and it goes into post, the one I got the error about, so which give me the error. So if I go to the one that was successful, I can do that. Oh, that's not that one. I think it's this one, the middle one. Okay, it's that one then. Yeah. Okay, maybe it's not. So, well, I can change that body. Okay, this is now post. This is should be get. Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So but you have everything that you listed. So I think it's a good idea to delete the one that was not working, so that eventually you can use the new one that are working. So another thing I would, okay, let's go into it. So I've gone through how to download. So you just go to get Postman, then you download the Postman app. Then step 3 is to launch it. So, and I've used this particular URL. So the first, if you use one, I think let's try that. So if you go to the URL for this one, also without using what's it called, swagger, that should display a message for you in JSON format, yeah, or XML. So you can see it's a pet not found. That's the response that you get. So, and you can put that also in your Postman, but make sure it's on the get. So that's it. So you can view it in raw, you can do the preview, or you can do it in pretty. So now you can also write a manual test for your test. Well, I will look into that very soon. So yeah, so that you can verify if you got error 200 or not. So it's very important to put an assertion there. So let's look into how to do the assertion. So to do that, you go to the test. When you go to the test, if you look at the right hand side, there are different parameters or different test snippets that have been created. So maybe we're looking for code, status code is 200, and then you can run it. This particular test would fail. Yeah, it failed, and then because we get 404. So let's say we put 404 here. Yeah, so that's if we do. Okay, so I think if we do 404, I'll check the test results. So 1 minute. So if you go into the test results, you see actually passed. So status code is 404, and you can see if you have more tests, you can. So let's say we do another one. So, and this is 200. We know one will pass, one will fail. So if you run that, you have 2 tests. So if you go into that, so all, so there's one status code is 400, status code is 200 failed. So expecting 200 but got 404. So that's very important. So you can, there are different tests that you can perform using even this snippet. So you can send a request. So you put your request in there. Then also you can even confirm, but normally I think I wouldn't even do this. So I will do it in the code or using the manual testing. So, well, of course, this one the response body contains, so you can look into that. The response body contains what you want to look into, what. So that body pets not found. Let's see if issue. So then if you run that one, Yeah. So result two tests passed. So body actually match the string cross. So if you put this as a pet or found, so you expect that to fail. So you can see only one test actually passed. So then for other people that are interested in manual in automation power free, so you can write those tests. So and this is basically manual testing part of API using Postman. So there's one question that say why is 404 passed? So 404 passed because the status I got is 404. It's not 200. So what you're trying to check is what status was returned from my endpoint, and this is my endpoint, and also based on the endpoint I supplied, it's 1, and 1 is not in the database from what you can see. So that's why you have 404 as no return. That's what is returned. And your test is now trying to say test. So to see that the status that return is 404. If the status that return is 404, it should pass. But if the status that return is 200, this should pass. But because the status is 400, it makes this one to pass. And because the status is not the status is 404, this passed, and because status is not 200, this failed. So that's why we have 400 as passed. So because that was the status code that was returned from this particular request that we sent. Is that okay? So the you can have look into the other parts, look into resource crystals requires response time. Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's continue. So I said the next one that we want to try now for the few minutes is now a good one I tell people is that because you can also automate API testing. You can automate API testing. But I want to actually tell you the one of the easy approach that you can use to automate it, because I know people use RestSharp, use different type of libraries to automate API. But I can tell you, if you know Postman, it makes your life easier. So for instance, let's say I am testing this particular uh, code, and I want to now use it in my automation. Let's say for so this is the previous automation testing that we've done. So I think this is one of the unit testing. So I'm going to create one unit testing. Let's create a new. Let's create a new folder, and I'm going to say that's API. Then the next part is add new class. One unit test. Okay, so now this is my unit test. I can rename it to something that is meaningful. So I can rename this. Okay, cool. So then what is the next one? If we go to Postman, so we've done this test and now we want to now get it into our code. The easier approach is if you click on code, you will see this, right? So it allows you to import the code snippets into your code. You can select the one that you want. So because we are using C sharp, so you will select C sharp, RestSharp. So for Java guys, also you can select any of the Java that you want, Universe or okay, HTTP. But because we are using C sharp, we're going to use C sharp, RestSharp, and this gives you this particular code snippet. Then what you need to do is now paste it into that place. Then this is the next part is for you to now make this work. So let's look into what we can do. So let's go and add new grid package for REST clients. So browse RestSharp. Okay, so now you can put the reason there. So that's it. Let's look into what this has done for us. So our client is now REST client, which is our endpoint with the URL. Then it now gets our request, which is method.request from our REST request. So then after that we add our header that are required as so then from there we get our response. So let's put a breakpoint here and run that test. Okay, I can change this API. Okay, so this is the test. So if I debug that test, so I just want to see what response is going to give to me. Okay, so if I press on F10, so that will give response to me. As you can see, these are all the contents or the data inside the response. So where's the status? Yeah, status not found, which is right. So and then So that's what you have. And you can see the response URL, so complete, and response status is completed. And yeah, so if you change that to a different ID that we know works, so like we should that works. Then we go back. So we're looking for, I think I'm sure that there's one for, okay, let's try to see if it's not, that was not found. Okay, let's try Android. I think I know Android was. Okay, like this. So let's go here and change this to 100 and stop. And then revert. So that should return success message for us. And successful is true, is completed is true, and the server status is okay. Description is okay. So that's what we now need to now verify. So if I do string, so from that we can actually get what we want, and then you can assert anything that you want. So from here you can do status or assert status. So that is if you are trying to use unit or length assertion. Equal status, comma, okay. Yeah, so then yeah, we can get the other ones. Okay, let's run it again, and we can validate the other part of the response that you get. So if you look into the response now, so you can see you can validate all this actually. So most importantly, we've been able to do the status code is okay, then is successful. We can do that also. Let's do that also. Add that count. You can verify that. You can verify that there's no error message displayed. So you can get those things out basically. we can say status error message is equal to dot error message dot string. So the same way we can get the other part also. String thing. What did I say now? Want to get the successful true. So you can get as many parameters as possible. Then you can assert those parameters from here with your assertion using unit assertion, or if you want to use the fluent assertion, for instance, error message dot should. So we want to use fluent assertion here. B dot B. So error message be null. I think that's the be null. So also successful dot should be true. True or false, sorry. Should be false or should be true. No, because it's a string, so that's what we are not actually seeing through. So I think it should be, what's that? The successful true. So let's run that one and then okay, let's run it again. Okay, so let's issue with that one. Object not set. So what else? So yeah, because that was null, there's no anything in there. So that was the issue, that was null. So that was the issue with that one. So we can be clever on that one because there's nothing. So there's a better way to bring that one out. So let's comment that one out now. So this is what I was talking about. When you go to the response, the message is null, so that's going to return null. Well, I think maybe if you put it here, so let's continue. F10, F10. So that return true. So I think that should be true. So let's okay. So yeah, that's fine. So now if we change this to 10 and see what happens, we run it again. So this is for that one passed. If you run this one again with 10 as the pet, it failed. It's expecting okay, but it actually is found not. It's actually not found. But yeah, I think there's a little issue. Yeah, actual. So we need to move it into different areas. So this should be, yeah, I always get this wrong. This should be the first, and this should be, yeah, because you need to put your actual for unexpected against the actual. So this is expected and this is actual. So it should be the other way around anyway. So yeah, that is that for today. So any question? I can see that Obi has been answering lots of questions. Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, so well, that is that. I'll just do a quick recap. So what we've been able to establish. I'll send this document out. So I think so. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to use Postman. We've been able to use Swagger. So from Postman, I said if you want to now import your code. So for those people that don't know how to write RestSharp for API testing from beginning, you can do it in Postman manually. You put your endpoints and your gets. You don't need the test anyway because it's not going to import that for you. It's going to import your endpoint. So you just need your endpoint and then your parameters if there's any. Then after that you put your HTTP verb, the appropriate one, and then you click on code. When you click on code, and then on the drop down, select the appropriate one that you want to use. We are using C#, then we copy that. Once you copy that, you can create a test method. You can also use your Specflow, to be honest. If you want to use Specflow, you can use Specflow. I can decide to say add new item. So I want to say that's my API testing using with Specflow. So, and yeah, I can say given I have my endpoint, then when. So what exactly are we trying to do? So I have my endpoint, then I need to pass the endpoint as this parameter, then I would I think that's all I need. And yeah, I can also use this and say it's my get or post or something like that, and I send I can say method dot get. So then what parameters do I need again? So yeah, when I go to the response, execute the response, then validate my response, or let's say my, which is what we validated just now. Where's that one? So we want to validate that yeah, the response is successful. So let's generate the step definition for this. Generate. Where is that? So I don't know whether I want to be sure I'm actually putting it at the right place. So let me get where that is saved. Okay, so when I now generate that, generate my step definition, generate. So I want to be sure it's on the right place. Yeah, so I want to save it to that point. So yeah, so now, so given, so I can also pass my endpoint as parameter. So that's another thing. So like 1, 2, or whatever you want, you can pass as a parameter. But if you go to this one, so at this point, you now need to put this different. So this go in here. So but I can also sure, because I would need to use the clients, so I need to bring it to the top. So then the next one is this one also, which is my method. So I need to bring the, so given a sense the method. So if I go back so that we know what I'm talking about, this one, I only add the parameters. I can decide not to add the parameters and just send it like that, or I can get the parameters there, but that's fine. So that will be PO or something like that. But yeah, so if I don't do parameters, that's fine. So I can now also, because I'm going to be using the request also somewhere else, so I can bring that request to the top. So and that is a REST request. So I don't need the var here any longer. So then lastly, I'll need to copy all these three. So and then put it in my execution response. I got that spelling wrong, but that doesn't matter. So I can put this one here. So yeah, okay. Then the last bit is this, that one. So I'll go back to, no, okay, I think this also goes into, yeah, so just need to put that one. So then the next part is the one that I've done for this, which is this bit, that I can put into the response. So which is that one. Yeah. So then that does the validation. So let's start response. So okay, yeah, I need this response also. So if I did not do what I did at the top, this was going to happen, because the response is not seen because it's in the context of this particular method. So I need to bring it out of the class so that the other method also can see it. And once I do that, I don't need to install declare it again at that point, so that's fine. So then ASAP, I just need to add the using and unit. So this is Flint assertion. Okay, that's it. So that will run everything using Specflow. So if I go into that, I can run that Specflow command. So let me change this. So API. Okay, so if I run it now and see what happens. Oh, okay, because we have our default scenario, so it's trying to, yeah, it's trying to open Internet Explorer. Well, that's fine. That's okay. So you can see it passed. So if you put a breakpoint and see what happens. Let's put a breakpoint. Yeah, on the beginning. So you can see it goes normally, because if it's the API only that we done, you don't need the Chrome driver, to be honest. So for let's just continue. So it goes into our default scenario, but the API doesn't require that, so it's just fine. So then the first one is that, then that's the client screen done, then the send is done. So then execute response, that's then validation, yeah, so yeah, that's fine, so that's passed, yeah, so that's that. Any questions? So that's everything for now. Okay, so if there's no questions, so we just call it tonight. So thank you everyone. So we see next week, which is going to be the final lesson. So for the class, we're going to look into database management. So looking to different SQL statements that you need to use. So and I'll try to post the video tomorrow. And also, before you leave, I think 1 minute. The registration for other classes is going to be out. I just need to get the URL out. 1 minute. Any question before I go? Work classes. What do you mean by work classes? I don't understand what that work classes was. Oh, you mean, yeah, I'm about to show you right now, so, okay. Okay, so this is the other classes that we offer. So, like I said, database management on the 22nd of March. Yeah, so that's what is been planned to do. And we plan to do a workshop on the 7th of April, which is also going to be the graduation. So it's going to be a workshop for CV and interview skills. So on the 7th of October, or April rather. So then from there, this is also planned in April. So the introduction to Word and Excel for those people that, so basic. Then also in the same April, we're going to start data entry part 1 on also Oracle HR. So then, for those ones that are involved in financials, information, so you and your money, what do you need to do with your money when you get them? So it's going to be May 2019. So how to break into IT discipline, also in May, business analysis, if you want to go into BA, that comes in May 2019. So if based on turnover from this, so we plan to do introduction to IT. So we're going to have another batch of software testing in June, just a bit. So that will be Java, not C#. So this one will be Java training. So the same, also in June, we start the project management course and basic accounting. So, and because you're going to be doing Java, And for software testing, we're going to do BDD with Cucumber. So, and yeah, in July also, this is going to be automation testing, not with C Sharp but with Java with internship placement. So, and this is not going to happen, but it's going to be software testing with Java. So of course, as you know, I will be mentoring and coaching along with that also. So, and September and October we will also do the introduction to Office also. Then we plan to do sound system training in November, and then from there, January 2020, we start with Specflow again, and also automation testing with C Sharp. So that's then in September we plan to do advanced version of this Oracle HR and data entry. So if you are already in data entry profession, or you want to move into data entry profession, this is going to be another course for you. So I would say most people, the most popular ones, except from the one subset testing, project management in June, BA in May 2019. So based on how this is popular, we might have to do another one also. But yeah, so this is the plan. So you are free to register for this course. Um, yeah. So okay, so that's the link. So you are free to send it across to anyone that may be interested. So as we get the number, we'll put the link up, to be honest. So the link is up right now, but once we get the required number, we just remove the. So for instance, let's say the CV, if you got the required number, we remove it, then it's not going to appear. So this CV and interview skill is going to be a workshop, so it's not going to be online. It's going to be a workshop, and it's going to happen after the graduation on the April 7th. So please avail yourself at the graduation ceremony. So I'll send the details before end of this week. So it's going to be on the 7th of April 2000, on the 7th of April 2019. So where you have the graduation. After the graduation, we'll talk about CV skills, preparation for interviews, and everything. The last guy that came for it's gonna be like four hours, so we have more time to do like a prep, interview questions, and everything. So yeah, please do attend. Okay, that's everything for now. Okay, okay. So I'll see you guys later. Yes, peace. Yeah.